Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident Tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet-fighting robot series. Now, as we reach the tail end of March this week with the tail end of the Kuro-chan collaboration, we have not one, but two very, very highly anticipated returnees coming back from the days of Medarot Navi and the Stars Above. And it's for that reason I've chosen to name this week's episode, It's Reach for the Stars Part 2. Ironically, the same chapter and name as when the original Grand Beetle and Sonic Stag I actually released about this time, say roughly about a year ago or so. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what they did announce for this week. First of which are the Gacha Banners on hand. Ironically, as you do see here, we do have coming up and making their grand debut, Pt.2 Kaiser Beetle, with a kit of Power Rifle, Long Shot, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the Heavy Arms-like ability. And then right behind him, we have his counterpart and the upgrade to Sonic Stag, KWG-09 Luminous Stag, with a kit of Stealth, Sword, Hammer, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Acrobatics. And then right behind him, also as a spotlight and highlight for this week, we do also have KWG-04 Titan Beetle, making a boosted drop rate for this coming week. And his kit is Deathlock, Double Sword, Biped Legs, and the Captor leg ability. Now, of course, anyone who's played Medarot Navi will know just how powerful and huge improvement to the arsenal that Kaiser Beetle and Luminous Stag are, and their grand debuts and returns to the games is certainly no exception to this fact. Kaiser Beetle is capable of a meta change, with a kit changing to Giga Gatling, which we've only seen thus far on the Kuro-chan collaboration model Black Kid, with Crossfire set and Crossfire release, kind of making a good nod to what Grand Beetle, his predecessor, also came packing. Kaiser Beetle also changes his leg type for Wield and his leg ability for Weapon Master, which is where he really amps up his high-end firepower, as if he already wasn't enough of a threat on the field. Luminous Stag, on the other hand, of course, takes very much so after Sonic Stag in this case, but with the higher damage output, with a kit of Charge Blade, Anti-Air, Anti-Sea, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Elusive. So, of course, both of these are going to be really big ticket items for this week, of course, especially if you are absolutely a Navi fan or have been waiting for these two for a long, long time. Titan Beetle, on the other hand, even though it is definitely very nice to see him, and he is an absolute unit to make use of anywhere, for his pretty solid armor, base power, and of course, basically a free shot at Deathlock just about any time, because he is a spotlight, I would definitely encourage leaving him alone this week if you're already at a pretty solid base for parts, since he's in a spotlight, it means he's already available at any given time. Just as one final reminder as well for this week, the Kuro-chan collaboration models Black Kid and Me Army are sticking around for one more week. So if you have not had a chance to snag either of those two yet, I absolutely would prioritize snagging them first, because once collaboration models leave, there is really no telling if we're going to ever see them again. And both of them are packing some pretty nasty skills that definitely will make use of them very easily and very efficiently if you do snag them. Whereas with Kaiser Beetle and Luminous Stag, even though they will be disappearing for a little while, they will technically be added to the game's library permanently, so there is always a chance for them being rerun. For the Fierce Battles we have this week, very largely a Medarot Navi-based roster that we have, aside from Titan Beetle, first of which on the roster is LDB-03 Ptolemy, with a kit of Scope, Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the Gunman ability for balanced shooting. Then we also have LBR-0 Libra, with a kit of Anti-Air, Gravity Guard, Anti-Air, Anti-Sea, Float Legs, and the Supremacy leg ability for that niche coverage against anyone using flight or sea-based legs. And then last but not least, we also have PCP-0 War Headley with a kit of Optic Guard, Double Napalm, Tank Legs, and the Heavy Arms leg ability for anyone needing heavy armor and equally as heavy scattered firepower. Now, honestly, of the three Fierce Battles we have this week, I would have to give the MVP of the week to Ptolemy in this case, because she has the better overall balance between Rifle and Gatling, and then of course with the Scope ability to bolster this even more so. So like I said, I would have to give the MVP of the week to Ptolemy in this case, but Libra and War Headley do of course also have some pretty solid skills to make use of on the field, even if they are selectively niche. Now, y'all are probably wondering, with a very largely Navi-based roster like we have thus far, why is Titan Beetle kind of tossed in here? And that is because he's getting a skin unlocked in the convenience store for the cost of the diamond currency. And with this, he will be getting a green iridescent skin, much akin to, say, Monjiro or Ambiguous in this case, which are the only two who have had it thus far, where Titan Beetle changes the blue and yellow for a more like a orange, sunset orange, and an iridescent green skin, or the jewel beetle skin. This one honestly does look really nice, not gonna lie. The iridescent, in my personal opinion, doesn't really color all that well, to be honest, since it does have a very strange matte cap design. That it basically laps over top the skin and mesh of the model. But even as a base model with no skin, the iridescent green is honestly a really nice addition. I'd even say an emerald green in this case too, which makes Titan Beetle look really nice. So if you are a Titan Beetle fan, I would definitely encourage at least considering picking these up if you have some diamond currency on hand. Otherwise, I'd probably leave this one alone, as skins really aren't known to go anywhere, in favor of maybe saving it for another skin down the line. Now, with the release and debut of Kaiser Beetle and Luminous Stag, we are also having a Twitter contest that was announced as well. If we can reach a total of 2,000 likes and retweets, all players will earn the original cluster map, which is essentially the overworld theme of the original Medarot Navi, for all players to use at any given time in the BGM settings and roster. Honestly, this 2,000 milestone is honestly really easy to reach. I think we can hit this very quickly and very easily in a span of a couple days, and we've done it before. We can do it again. So let's see if we can try to get that going, folks. We can get a hold of that even before the patch does go live this coming Thursday. Now, on the community front, we are still continually looking for translators for the Medarot 3 and the Medarot Reloaded translation projects, so if you have any knowledge of coding, cleaning, or Japanese with some time on your hands, we are more than appreciative of any effort that you'd be willing to provide and help us out with, because as much as we would love to keep working on these, we have a lot of other games that we've been requested to work on. Medarot 4, Medarot 5, Navi especially. Navi especially, I feel, will be getting a lot of attention and appreciation this week, given that Kaiser Beetle and Luminous Stag will be finally making their grand debut into the realm of 3D, leaving only one KBT and KWG pair left, actually, before we have all of them rendered in 3D, and those are the Pupa Beetle and Pupa Stag. I have my own personal thoughts on those, but if they ever do get released or debuted, I will be sure to cover them without a doubt. But again, if you do have any knowledge of coding, cleaning, or Japanese with some time on your hands, we are more than appreciative of any efforts that you'd be willing to provide to help us see these projects to completion so we can work on even more and release more fan translations for the community to enjoy. For the weekly art highlights this week, I did choose to kind of peruse it more for art highlighting Kaiser Beetle and Luminous Stag, since those two are debuting this week, and it honestly really wasn't hard to find a lot of art. Gotta admit, you guys worked real fast in that. So in this case, with this art of Kaiser Beetle by Robert, on Twitter at Raven2135086, I've actually seen a lot of their art before popping up in recent. Very, very good artists, a very nice mecha artist, aspiring mecha artist too. So definitely do give them a follow if you want to add more Medarot to your feed and more mecha art just in general. And then of course this piece by Kanikaku, who did Luminous Stag, also a very nice solid piece, kind of showing a lot of the proportions of Luminous Stag just a little easier, as being a rather clunky model he is, makes it kind of hard to get a good angle on him without something else overlapping and making it hard to kind of visualize what he looks like from all angles. But aside from all this, I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Thanks again once more. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever communities there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below if you want to have a closer ear to the action on anything related to Medarot, whether that be my weekly updates with Medarot S with the weekly announcements and the breakdowns, anything with merch related, or anything with the news in general. So if you like to keep an ear to the ground, that absolutely is the place to go. You can also reach out to me on Twitter at IsagamiKura, so if you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, or comments, that's definitely the one place you can reach me, as my DMs are always open. I'm always open to suggestions, so definitely feel free to reach out, and don't be a stranger. I'm a friendly guy to talk to, and I always love a good conversation. In addition to this, I have also given some thought to the poll that I had last week. Didn't quite get as much of the interaction with it as I expected or hoped, but which is still perfectly fine, as I have a little bit of a solid idea on what I have chosen to do in terms of the streaming. I will very likely be doing that on my as I can fit it into my schedule. Haven't quite figured out a whole lot of details yet, but that is still kind of as an in the works kind of thing more than anything else. So do stay tuned on that, and I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. Do also give these fine folks a follow as well. Word on Twitter or at its Word. Definitely another very good artist across the board. Especially done a number of Medarot pieces too. Fantastic artist, good friend of mine, and a fellow Medarotter in the community. And in addition, you can also give Pt.2, another fellow friend of mine and Medarotter artist in the community. Both of which have fantastic art, but not just Medarot related, but across the board too. Both absolutely wonderful additions to your Twitter feed if you want to add any more Medarot art or appreciation to your Twitter feeds as you scroll through the day. But aside from all this, I believe that covers just about everything for this week's episode. Not a whole lot really announced. It is going to be a rather slow week, which is kind of nice given all the action that we've had between the Kuro-chan collaboration and the Marathon Survival that we have this week. But this is definitely going to be a Ruby Sync week, as we have not one but two very highly sought after models this week. So if you can suit for both models, by all means, definitely go after them. If not, I wouldn't sweat it too much, because Kaiser Beetle and Luminous Stag will be sticking around for a good deal of time. Don't be in a particular rush, and if you do miss them, don't sweat it. They will be back again sometime in the future for sure. But aside from all this, thanks again for stopping by, folks. It's always happy to have you in for a visit. Until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.